Welcome to The Real Chimdi. I'm Chimdi and I'm glad to have you. On this clip, Karoline Leavitt was an absolute menace to all the journalists who asked obnoxious questions. Now let's get right into it.
The president can declassify anything that he wants. Has he looked to see if there are any records here that would contradict what we've been told about Joe Biden's decline?
He has not directed anyone, to my knowledge, to look into that, but surely I can ask him if he intends to. I think the president has spoken on this pretty extensively, and I have spoken about it extensively from this podium as well, how it was truly one of the worst political scandals this country has ever seen, that the previous administration covered up the decline in the former president's mental and physical ability. And it's now all coming out, but the American people knew the truth, and that's one of the many reasons why President Trump won the election on November 5th.
And President Trump says that he basically thinks unelected Biden staffers concealed his decline so that they could use the levers of power for their own personal gain.
Well, look, that's not just the president thinking that, Peter. There's a new book out. I don't know if any of you have heard about it. Again, a little bit too late because the American people knew the truth on this from the very beginning. And there were reporters in this room, including some from your network, Peter, I'll give you a little bit of credit here, who have said that clearly Joe Biden's staffers were engaging in this cover-up. So this is common sense. This isn't the president making it up. These are facts that are now finally being revealed.
Right, and I'm not saying the president's making it up, but he specifically talks about the auto pen. He thinks that staffers were using this auto pen. Mm-hmm. Is there some kind of like a badge that you have to swipe to use an auto pen? Is there a record of that?
I can tell you here at this White House, the president signs any document that has legal implications. The president signs every executive order. He signs every proclamation. He signs pretty much every document that is needed for the president's signature, with the exception of maybe some letters to children. From what we have heard and seen, that was not the case in the previous administration, and the president is raising good questions that are worth looking into. And as for Maha, I'm going to take a sip of water, if that's okay with you guys. Go ahead.
Now, the end was really funny, but we all get what she was trying to say. Donald Trump can now clearly see that most of what was signed as executive orders couldn't have been signed by the then president, that's Joe Biden. The reason was clear. He wasn't in the best shape health-wise, and apparently some unelected individuals had to step in to help him, making use of the auto pen. And apart from the Epstein files, this has to be one of the most hidden facts about the Joe Biden administration. But then the lead has been taken off, and everyone, particularly President Donald Trump, can now, see that more investigation needs to be done to determine the unelected individuals who are clearly helping Joe Biden run his government.
Did anyone in the White House or in the White House counsel's office advise the president against holding this sweepstakes, whereby people who spent the most money on his Trump coin would then have access to the president at this dinner?
Again, the president has been asked about this. He has addressed this. I have also stated previously from this podium that the president is abiding by all conflict of interest laws that are applicable to the president. And I think everybody, the American public, believe it's absurd for anyone to insinuate that this president is profiting off of the presidency. This president was incredibly successful before giving it all up to serve our country publicly. And not only has he lost wealth, but he also almost lost his life. He has sacrificed a lot to be here, and to suggest otherwise is frankly completely absurd.
I believe a lot of these journalists need to carry out more investigations, as it's obvious that most of them do not. Donald Trump has been on the news since the 80s, and he has always been associated with wealth. That's it. Donald Trump has had his fair share of challenges as a businessman, but he bounced back, and it's on record. I mean, it's interesting that a president who is too rich to accept a salary is now being accused of trying to make profit using his position. That's sick, in my opinion. Truly sick.
Libby, go ahead.
Concerns?
Round of nuclear talks between Iran and the U.S. is going to take place on Friday in Rome. What is the president anticipating ahead of that? And if a deal doesn't come from that meeting, is he going to walk away?
Well, I'm glad you brought up Iran, because I do have an update. The president spoke to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today. They had a productive discussion. They discussed many things, including, of course, the tragic shooting that took place here in Washington, D.C. last night. But they also did talk about a potential deal with Iran, which the president believes is moving along in the right direction. And as the president told me, and he's told all of you, this deal with Iran could end in two ways. It could end in a very positive diplomatic solution, or it could end in a very negative situation for Iran.
Whoa, that was as direct as a threat could be. Donald Trump might be misunderstood for being a big bully of the world, but someone with common sense has to do it. Someone has to have the balls to serve as a check to leaders of the nation who directly or subtly try to challenge world peace. This is just a fact. Now, folks, I would like to know what you think in the comment section. Until our next clip, please keep staying peaceful and peace out, fam. Love you.